I discovered my husband's affair in London by doing something he never saw coming, tracking our airline miles. After I uncovered the truth, I cancelled his return flight, filed for divorce, and even ensured his British mistress's life unraveled right alongside his. We had been together for 8 years. From the moment I met him, I was hooked. He was everything I thought I wanted, and so much more. Getting him to date me took some effort, though. He was new at our office and hesitant to cross professional lines. But I saw the way he looked at me. I knew there was something there. Eventually, we went on our first date, and it was magical. That night sparked a whirlwind romance that led us down the aisle just 2.5 years later. One of the things I loved most about him was his endless curiosity. Whether it was learning a new language or trying a new hobby, he was always looking to grow. He was worldly, adventurous, and absolutely in love with travel. I wasn't quite like that, but I admired it and I wanted to become more like him. In the early years of our marriage, we traveled together: France, Japan, Italy. Each trip felt like a dream, but then the pandemic hit, grounding our lives in more ways than one. He took it hard. Being stuck indoors, unable to explore the world, drained him. To cope, he joined an online travel group that met via Zoom. They'd talk about places they'd been, swap cultural stories, and even share recipes. He loved it. He made close friends, and soon they were talking outside the meetings, playing games, watching movies on Discord. I was glad he found something to bring him joy during those dark months. When travel opened back up, he leapt at the chance to go abroad again. I couldn't join him. I was back in the office full-time, still supporting us both since he'd been laid off. It wasn't easy to let him go without me, but I knew how badly he needed to feel free again, so I said yes. He spent a week in Switzerland visiting one of his online friends. When he returned, he was glowing. He showed me pictures, told me about the food, the sights, the people. I hoped that would hold him over until we could travel together again, but instead, it only reignited his wanderlust. I told him how it made me feel, him jetting off without me. He promised he'd wait until I could come along next time. I believed him. Then, a couple months later, he said a friend from the group was getting married in London and begged him to come. I was hopeful I could go too, but the dates clashed with a mandatory work conference. I reminded him of that. He acted surprised, said he forgot, a lie I wouldn't recognize as one until much later. At the time, I had no reason to doubt him. He seemed sincere when he told me he'd forgotten about my work conference, and that he wouldn't go to the wedding if I couldn't come with him. Of course, he knew me well enough to expect what I'd say, just go. Still, something about the weeks leading up to his trip felt off. He was on edge, jittery, and oddly distant. He avoided eye contact like it burned. It felt like he was carrying something heavy, something he almost confessed, but never quite did. Ironically, we both flew out on the same day, heading in different directions. I was so wrapped up in my conference that I didn't even think to check in when his flight should have landed. Later that night, back in my hotel room, I checked my messages. Nothing from him. Before I let worry creep in, I logged into our shared airline account to check his arrival time. We'd created it years ago to pool miles, a practical move, since I traveled for work and he just loved to travel. Period. That's when I saw it. Yes, there was a record of the flight he told me about, but right beneath it was something new, a departure to London. An hour after his plane landed. He never said anything about London. Still, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I screenshotted the flight info and texted him, just to confirm he bought it. Maybe, I thought, someone had hacked our account. He didn't respond right away, but 15 minutes after the London flight was scheduled to arrive, I got a message from him, a timing that told me everything I needed to know. Then he called. He said he had a little free time and decided, spontaneously, to hop over to London before the wedding. I was too drained to argue. I let it go. Figured we'd talk about it later. But it did rub me the wrong way. Flights aren't cheap, especially not the business and first-class ones he always booked. And given that I was the one supporting us since he lost his job, a heads-up would have been nice. I fell asleep, pushing the unease aside, until morning. When I woke up, I saw a text from an unknown number. Nothing unusual. I get spam all the time, but this message had a photo attached. I opened it, and my heart dropped. There he was, my husband, unmistakably him, with another woman. The photo was intimate, clear, damning, no caption, no context, just betrayal in full color. I fired off a message, asking who sent it. The sender read it but didn't respond. Still, I had a conference to get through. It was too important to let my personal life crash into it, even if I felt like I was falling apart inside. I avoided my phone all day, terrified I'd see a love you text from the same man I just saw wrapped around another woman. When I finally got back to my hotel room, I saw 2 missed calls from the same number. I called back. A woman answered. Her accent was unmistakably British. I asked who she was and why she sent the picture. Her response? I just wanted you to know you're barking up the wrong tree with your little husband. Excuse me? I told her, calmly, at first, that I was married to the man she was calling hers. If anyone was barking up the wrong tree, it was her. That's when everything clicked. The London ticket, the sudden change of plans, the nervous behavior. He had flown there to be with her. Curious, I checked our airline account again. There was no return flight from London to the city he was originally supposed to be in, just the ticket home. Without hesitating, I deleted my payment info from the account. Then I cancelled his return flight. I didn't know the full story, whether she thought they were dating or if he spun her a lie about me. It didn't matter. He cheated, he betrayed me, and he used my money to do it. I was done. I finished the conference and flew home early. I was ready to burn it all down, the lies, the marriage, the life I thought we had. When his return date came, he called and texted, frantic. He had no clue his girlfriend had exposed him. I finally answered. I told him I knew everything, and he wouldn't be flying home on my dime. If he wanted to get back to the States, he'd have to figure it out himself. He scrambled, tried to gaslight me, claimed the photo was old, an ex from years ago. But I knew better. I could see the truth in his voice. He was still lying. I gave him one chance to tell me the truth, just one. And when he realized I wasn't bluffing, he finally broke. He admitted it all. The woman in London? Someone from his online group. They'd been talking for a while, and eventually, she seduced him. She was in a band. Artsy. Bohemian, basically. The kind of woman he would have dated before me. The kind he always claimed he'd outgrown. I didn't say much, just told him he could expect divorce papers waiting when he got home. Then I hung up. I didn't buy her a plane ticket home either. After I found out she'd knowingly slept with a married man, she was cut off. She tried calling around, begging people to help her out. She had no money of her own. Eventually, her sister bought her a ticket and then called me to cuss me out for stranding her. That was rich. Out of curiosity, I did some digging. He'd mentioned she was in a band, so I looked her up. I was surprised. She wasn't some nobody. She had a decent following, and her band had just released a song that was gaining traction. I knew what I did next wasn't exactly the high road, but I couldn't help myself. I blurred my husband's face, so he couldn't cry revenge porn, and posted the photo from a throwaway account. Tagged her, added a short caption explaining she'd knowingly slept with a married man and helped destroy a marriage. The post went viral. The response? Instant sympathy. People rallied around me. I filed for divorce, and my ex ended up crashing at his brother's place, job hunting and piecing his life back together. He finally started working again, in person, full-time, which I found hilarious considering his new girlfriend's wanderlust lifestyle. Something told me that wouldn't last. And I was right. A few months later, I checked back on her band's account. The fallout had been brutal. The band's page was flooded with comments calling her a homewrecker. She tried to play the victim, claiming she didn't know he was married, but the damage was done. Her fans turned on her. Her bandmates were furious. Shows were cancelled. Eventually, one member posted a statement about parting ways and new creative directions. Translation: the band broke up. I'd be lying if I said that didn't feel a little satisfying. After the divorce, the emotional wreckage hit. I was angry, hurt, and disoriented, but beneath all that, there was something else, clarity. For years, I'd shaped my life around his dreams, his hobbies, his joy. Therapy helped me realize how completely I'd lost myself trying to support someone who didn't support me back. So I started over. I joined a book club, signed up for a photography class, booked a solo trip to Scotland, not to run away from the past, but to reclaim a part of my life that had once felt out of reach. Travel wasn't just his thing anymore. It was mine, too. Touching down in Edinburgh felt like opening a new chapter. And that's where everything changed. I joined a group tour of the Highlands, and our guide was this kind, witty Scotsman named Callum. He had the kind of dry humor that cut through any awkward silence and a calm energy that made people feel at ease. We ended up talking for hours, about life, about loss, about the weird paths that bring people together. By the time the trip ended, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, not just attraction, but hope. Callum and I stayed in touch. Texts turned into video calls, which turned into visits. Now, he's my fiancé. He's moving to the States soon, and yeah, we're a little nervous, but mostly excited. Because if this whole mess taught me anything, it's that sometimes, the worst thing that happens to you is actually the start of something better. As for my ex, word got around that he's still struggling, low-paying job, crashing on couches, ghosted by the same woman who helped wreck our marriage. Turns out, scandal isn't as glamorous as he thought. She dumped him not long after her reputation tanked. Her career never recovered. The same internet that once adored her had turned on her in full force. I didn't feel bad. It felt like karma. And then, about a year after the dust had settled, I got an email from a journalist. They'd come across the viral post and wanted to do a story, not just about the cheating scandal, but about me, about resilience, recovery, and what happens when women stop making themselves small. At first, I wasn't sure, did I really want to revisit it all? But then I thought about the women who might read it, the ones stuck in toxic relationships, putting everyone else first, wondering if they're crazy for feeling unseen. So I said yes. The article focused less on revenge and more on rebirth. I shared how I rebuilt, how I found myself again. The response was overwhelming. Messages from strangers saying they felt seen, inspired, hopeful. And all of it? All of it started because I noticed a weird flight on our airline account. Heartbreak had cracked me open, but in the end, I didn't just heal. I thrived. And now, every morning I wake up in a life I chose, beside a man who loves the real me. And that's the best revenge of all. Oh, and if you liked the story, don't forget to like and subscribe.